Story 1. The easy answer is not to marry that woman, but then I would have missed out on the 5 great children that resulted from it, along with 10 wonderful grandchildren and 6 great-grandchildren. The marriage lasted 27 years, with my 5 children all encouraging me to end it, so I divorced her. My second marriage is now going on 25 years and is significantly better. Story 2. I want to go back and tell my 18-year-old self, just go to college. If you still want to serve, do it as an officer. Story 3. Letting my university discourage me from pursuing my desired major in architecture because it was too competitive. Story 4. 30 years ago, there was a girl in my English class who I thought was absolutely gorgeous. She was smart and wonderfully captivating. I was certain she had no interest in me, even though she always sat by me and asked me to hang out. I had convinced myself that she didn't like guys and was probably just a way to protect myself from being hurt. One night, I was hanging out in front of the club I used to frequent, almost completely broke. Here she came walking up to the door with a few of her friends. "Are you coming in?" she asked. "Nah, I'm good out here," I replied, not wanting to admit I could either pay the cover or buy a beer, but not both. Maybe later. I went home after that. I'm not sure I ever saw her again. I would absolutely tell myself to get in there and talk to her. And I would also find her and tell her that I was self-absorbed with low self-esteem, and she might need to be patient with me while I figure things out. But it could be worth it. Story 5. Before anyone says anything, it affects everyone differently, and I let myself get strung out on cannabis all because of a bit of anxiety. Now I'm constantly paranoid and freak out to the point where I want to fight over the smallest things if I can't smoke, and I just feel like I'll actually die without it for more than a day or two. If everything else they say about cannabis is false, at least believe them when they say it's very addictive. I literally shake like someone with an alcohol dependency if I think about smoking for too long and have no access to anything. The amount of debt I'm in because anytime I get money it goes to cannabis is wild, and I'm just now turning 21 in a few weeks. That's just the tiniest, almost invisible tip of the iceberg for me. Of course, I started really young, so it's my own doing. I have no one to blame for simply not saying no when offered by my sister and letting it ruin me. I have an unfortunate, self-deprecating joke that if individuals addicted to meth existed in the cannabis community, I would be the biggest one. I'm about to start a job too, so I can't exactly go to rehabilitation because I don't want to lose this job. It's at a dollar store, which is why rehabilitation isn't an option right now. I'll get instantly terminated. Trust me, I want to go. I just can't afford it and have no insurance. Plus, like I said, I'm about to start a job. It's at a point where I think my only way out of this hole is through self-harm. I come from a very Christian family, fundamental Christianity to be exact, so crying out to anyone in my family other than my sister who introduced me to cannabis also isn't an option, especially since I'm still currently living with my family, and I don't need to get kicked out and become homeless in my current state of being. In summary, believe them when they say cannabis can become extremely addictive, and honestly, just say no. If that's not enough, remove yourself from the situation. It's not as cool as everyone makes it out to be, and if the wrong person gets a hold of it can be rather debilitating rather than beneficial. Story 6. Drinking alcohol. I grew up around excessive drinkers and music about heartbreak and drinking. Mexican culture in the 90s was very pro-drinking. So, in my teenage years, I thought, oh, I'm heartbroken. You drink when you're heartbroken. Thankfully, I am in a better place now, but I could have saved a lot of time. Story 7. Honestly, I believe much of my life has been shaped by the thought that this would apply to me. I would advise my younger self to do more, not less. Story 8. Giving in to lust. All the failures in my life can be traced back to my strong desire to bring various women of different socioeconomic backgrounds and beliefs to experience orgasmic ecstasy on a level they have never encountered before. I am easily worn down by their manipulations, but I have focused so much on lovemaking that it seems I have sacrificed too much just for their pleasure. I have heard from many of them that they have had sex without achieving orgasm. I find that detestable, shocking, and unbelievable that there are people who can do all the things necessary to get someone undressed and then lack the ability or knowledge to ensure their satisfaction. Story 9. Please everyone, I used to say yes to everything in my early 20s. I spent too much time on friendships and activities that drained me instead of focusing on what I truly wanted to do. Story 10. Caring about the opinions of others is important, as even those closest to you may not have your best interests at heart. Story 11. Going to a four-year college to obtain a degree that may not be useful. I should have attended a community college to earn a paralegal degree. Story 12. I would prevent my younger self from going back in time and creating a catastrophic timeline rift. Story 13. I don't think there is anything I would stop myself from doing, but there is a lot I would encourage myself to do. I am good at talking myself out of things. Story 14. I would have gone to a different college and chosen a different major. I flunked out my first year as an animal science student, and 8 years later, it is still dragging down my cumulative GPA and holding me back from getting into the program that I actually want. I was too stubborn at 18 and insisted on pursuing an animal science degree at a private school for wealthy students because I thought it would be easy and I could simply spend my free time riding horses and having fun. It ended up being primarily science classes, which I had zero interest in. I couldn't fit in with the wealthy students, so I had no friends and couldn't make it onto the equestrian team because I was competing against people riding expensive horses while I had grown up riding less prestigious animals. I ultimately gave up on my classes and stopped trying. I really wish I hadn't been so stubborn and that I had kept horses as a hobby instead of trying to make a career out of it. I naively thought I would be noticed by some wealthy sponsor for my determination and achieve success with my riding because I believed that money couldn't buy talent, thinking my situation was somehow better than those with both money and talent. Story 15. Admitting my romantic feelings for my college best friend. The friendship didn't survive, and I wonder now, almost 15 years later, what would have happened if I had kept my feelings to myself. Story 16. Quitting sports and music has left me wishing I had continued with them, as I now lack a passion or hobby. I struggle to exercise and find joy in activities. Story 17. Not taking care of my type 1 diabetes. 25 years and a kidney transplant later, I am paying the price of being irresponsible as a child. Story 18. I would advise myself to avoid dating the problematic individual I was involved with at 23. I would also encourage myself to stop wasting time and start focusing on work that truly matters to me. Story 19. Stop him from letting fear dictate his every move, which set a hard template. I am still trying to break that mold in my 40s. Story 20. Unfriending my best friend and girlfriend at the time was a difficult decision. I had been let go from my job, and I felt suicidal at the age of 18. I have been diagnosed with bipolar disorder and other conditions. The medication helps, but it does not cure the intense emotions and the actions that follow when I act on those emotions. Story 21. Heroin. I think I even tried it. I saw my future self once, and she asked me to stop, but I refused. Seriously, though. Story 22. I sometimes write that I wouldn't have used heroin, but I am in a really good place in life for the most part. I don't think I would have been here if I had done all the things I am doing now when I was younger. I would have gone to school earlier and finished earlier, and I might have had a real career job earlier. But I don't know. I learned a lot and met many amazing people. So maybe ideally I would never have used heroin. However, I learned a lot and lived a lot while I was using it. I don't think I would appreciate where I am today if I hadn't faced those challenges to get here. There is also a version of me from a year ago who let another person affect my life negatively. It would be nice if I had not decided to take on that project because I think of where I could be right now and where I am, doubting myself, questioning my worth, and feeling a little overwhelmed. At the same time, that experience pushed me to take therapy seriously. Maybe now I can address the fact that I often choose the wrong people to be with. I have great friends, so why don't I have great partners, you know? Why am I drawn to people who lie to me when I treat them well? Maybe now I can figure that out. I've never been happier than when I was with him. Do I want to forget all that? That boy kept me sober for so long. He made me happy and laughed harder than anyone ever has. He took care of me. I had never truly loved anyone until I met him. He taught me a lot. So do I really want to forget all that? I don't know. I guess I would have spent more time with my dad, if anything. We spent a lot of time together, and I miss him greatly. I've really been missing him a lot lately. I know he would be proud of where I am now and that he would have supported me through everything I went through. So yeah, I think that's it. I think I would have spent more time with my dad. He was my best friend. Story 23. Buy Tesla stock and all the Bitcoin you can. Prioritize mental and physical health. You can always make money, so do the fun things while you are young enough to enjoy them. Story 24. If you take this question at face value, the answer should be nothing. There is a significant chance of inadvertently causing harm to yourself and others through the butterfly effect, even through what you believe is a positive change. For example, you decide to end a relationship with a toxic ex. Instead, you propose to the person of your dreams. On the way to your wedding, your entire family is tragically killed in a car accident. Story 25. I shouldn't have given up on my workout routine. I had a good thing going, and I was always able to make my life work around it. However, after one day of laziness, it has been hard to make the habit stick. Story 26. I decided not to go to therapy. Instead, I tried to convince myself to accept my own actions and contributions to my current situations, rather than blaming others. I also sold a bunch of ether for $20 each to pay my rent. Story 27. Stop myself from selling cocaine. Stop myself from owning a firearm. Stop myself from owning a fast car. Stop myself from moving again. Story 28. Marrying my first wife. My younger self could have let the relationship grow, but I should not have married her. And I shouldn't have paid for anything for her. I was young and naive. Story 29. If you have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, you might learn differently than others. All you need is some positive reinforcement. It's helpful to talk to others in class, and it's okay to do so. Story 30. Because I was not mature enough at 19, I changed significantly as I matured into my mid to late 20s. My goals, thought process, and focus all evolved. At 19, I had no idea who I was, what truly mattered, or what I wanted. I should have prioritized my education, moved out, and lived independently. I should have explored the world a bit more. We grew up and mentally went in different directions. He became interested in different things than I did, including major issues like substance abuse. We divorced at 24. Story 31. Self-isolating. I always had many good friends, but I realized I was uncomfortable doing anything alone, so I withdrew from others to make myself stronger. Now I feel uneasy around other people and need to be alone most of the time to feel normal. Story 32. If I could go back as I am now, I would tell myself not to go to college. It is a waste of my time and money. Story 33. On the morning my sister ran away, she asked if I was awake. Like any younger sibling, I found her annoying, so I grumpily shooed her off. She came back a second time and asked again, and I responded the same way. Then the third time, she just hugged me. She didn't say anything or try to wake me up, just hugged me. But I wanted to keep up the illusion that I was still asleep, so I didn't hug her back. I remember feeling so annoyed with her, wishing she could leave for school already so I could finally have the house to myself. It's been 9 years, and she still hasn't come home, so I guess I got my wish. Still, sometimes I wonder how differently things might have ended if I had said goodbye. If I could go back in time, I would go to that moment and hug her back. I don't know if I would try to stop her or if I even should, but I think I would have saved myself almost a decade of heartache if I had just hugged her back. Story 34. Caring about what others think and recognizing how quickly time passes. Make the most of every moment and stop wasting time. Story 35. I would stop myself from having that jelly vodka that made me very intoxicated in my second year at university. I became loud, obnoxious, sleazy, and disrespectful. I lived with guilt and shame for years afterwards, and it was only because my friends knew me better and recognized it was out of character that they ever forgave me. Story 36. I experienced drugs when my best friend committed suicide. I have been in sober living since March 2024 and away from my dog, and I really dislike it. Story 37. Declining a job offer. I applied for an office position at an oil depot. They informed me that I was unsuccessful but offered me a job at a service station instead. I was just starting out and believed I could find a better opportunity. Story 38. Do not buy The Sims 4. It continues to decline over the years as more bugs accumulate, the paid downloadable content is excessive, and it is reportedly easy to pirate. Story 39. Pick better GCSE topics. The reason I thought information technology and design technology were good ideas will always be beyond me. And yes, 13-year-old me, the weirdo you call rose petal baby sheep in your phone at cadets, is someone you will want to know. But the person who introduced you? No, she can go away. She's toxic, and you won't realize it until 2019, when you're halfway through college and feeling overwhelmed because it's too much, and you live with your mom due to her divorce from your dad on Mother's Day. Oh, and most importantly, when you buy the brown teddy bear that your stepdad owns because you're jealous of his by more than one, they're out of stock. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.